Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this 1 hour long Ibis Paintex tutorial in which I have explained each and every tutorial with proper demonstration everywhere. So, I would like to give you some basic guidelines before you actually see the tutorial so you know how to kind of maximize the usage of this tutorial so that you can use it in the best way. So, this tutorial I have kind of recorded in a more casual way, like I have just opened up my laptop and explained every tool. And the best way would be to watch it at first of all at 1.5x. Also, skip through the parts which you already know, and also, if I have to give you an overview of how I have explained the tools, first of all, I have explained you the overall interface, that the window which initially appears, and after that, how to select the canvas and what kind of canvas will be good, what are the possibilities to consider. And once the main painting window has opened, which has all the tools which we use for painting, I have explained first of all every tool, complex tools also, like the usage of magic wand, how layers work, everything is explained. But the format is like, in this whole window I have explained first the bottommost, all the tools one by one. Then we have moved to the top corner, top right corner, where I have explained the tools which are present over there. And then we have moved to the main toolbar. Also remember, in every tool there are many ways to do the same thing, and as you work on it you will find kind of which way you like it to use more. Like in every tool basically there are many ways to use or do the same thing. And I have possibly covered all the things which I particularly know, and I think that this tutorial will really help you if you are just getting started with Ibis Paintex tutorial. Because also I feel once you know what are the possibilities, what are the tools already there, it kind of enhances your capability while using that particular tool. So yeah, that was all. And yeah, make sure to watch the entire tutorial or the parts which you really want to know. Possibly I will add the timestamp so that it's easy for you if you want to really go and check out, like if you just want to learn the layer structure, like how the layers are being used, or how to do copy pasting or that magic wand thing. I'll possibly include the timestamps later on as I get time, and I hope this will help you in my windows, but you can follow the same instructions either in your tablet or in your phone. So when we open the Ibris Paint text, we get three options: My Gallery, Collection, and Online Gallery. Our main work is with My Gallery. In Online Gallery, there is basically a community of Ibris Paint artists which upload their artwork, and some ranking is also done, as you can see here. In Collection, the artworks you save from Online Gallery appear. Our main work is with My Gallery, where all the artworks which we do will appear. So let me first introduce you about the My Gallery only, that what is there in this gallery. So all the artworks, as you can see, I downloaded it weeks before. So I have many of artworks here only, which I have done in Ibris Paint Windows. Also, you can on the cloud synchronization. I have not on it yet. Basically, you have to sign up with Twitter, or now currently known as X, so that if you draw something in your like Windows, that the same artwork will appear in your phone also. This is cloud synchronization which you can do on Ibis Paint. Anyways, we will look at this top bar, which is of importance to us. With this plus icon, which is new canvas icon, you can add a new canvas into your gallery in which we would be drawing. You could also import a picture and draw over that picture. Also, you can basically make a custom size canvas from here. You can add a particular resolution which you want into these bars and get a custom canvas to draw. But I feel all the generalized, the standard sizes of canvas are already pre-made given here. With this side, with this box, you can kind of increase the resolution of your illustration. See, what happens is that if you have a higher resolution canvas, on zooming in the artwork will not, break into pixels. Means the zoomability of the artwork increases if you have a higher resolution canvas. But also remember, if you're using a higher resolution, then your phone or device might hang depending on processor or storage. So be careful to choose the canvas size according to your phone capacity and what is the purpose of your drawing. Okay, another option here which is select. So basically you can from this option select certain artwork, and by clicking on this bin icon you can delete that icon, that delete that artwork from your canvas, like from your gallery. So we so after that, let me show you, or we can just go to the canvas and start looking at, I'm using 1 by 1 SD. So once you open the canvas, the brush is auto selected and you can straight go and draw on the canvas. This option, which is pen to eraser and eraser to pen switch, is a very helpful tool which helps you switch seamlessly between pen and eraser. Also, these two rollers which are appearing are to control the opacity of the pen and eraser, opacity of the pen and eraser, and size of the pen and eraser. For example, this is the size. I could increase the size by increasing, and also it gives you a preview also how big your brush has become, as you can see in the circle. It's really very helpful. Also, you could adjust the opacity by clicking here. Let me do the size low. As you can see, the opacity has been lowered of the brush. After that, let me do it 100%. After that, here basically you have a brush tool basically. All the brushes which are there will appear by clicking on here. Also, the see in Ibis Paint or in any tool, there are 100 ways of doing the same thing, coming to the same dialogues. But I am telling you as the flow goes of the tutorial. As you can see, there are a lot of brushes, and also one thing I would like to tell you is that as compared to Procreate where you can create a custom brush, here you cannot make a custom brush, but you can customize already pre-made brushes which are really very functional. And believe me, you won't need any other brush than which are there, because here there is a lot of variety of brushes, lot of textures in the brushes, and also you can adjust various things by doing here. I would like you to experiment yourself with these brushes. Also, the most fun thing is if you really scroll to the bottom, you will see a lot of interesting brushes like these chains and flowers. These are very interesting to experiment and have fun with. And I usually, experiment these to make grasses or to backgrounds. It is very interesting. So something you should experiment on your own, or I will only make a separate video in which I would be experimenting Ibris Paint brushes only. So because I said now I have a habit of getting into details, so without wasting time there, let's move to another tool, which is this color wheel. If you're using it on your phone or any device in which the screen is smaller, you will see a side arrow. You can click on that and switch between this color wheel portion and this palette portion. So in this color wheel portion, you can just simply choose any color and he will see whichever color is coming here. This is the previous color which we are currently using, and this is the new color which we are selecting. So whichever color we select, if we really want to use it in our artwork or maybe in future in any other color palette, you could just simply add it to your palette by dragging the color from there to the palette. Also, this tool, which is a new tool introduced by Ibis Paint, it was not previously there, is that you can see all the recent colors you used in this history of colors panel. Okay, so this was all about color wheel. You could also adjust it like doing it here. Also, you can add a particular color code also here, which is very helpful if you're making any illustration for any company, etc., where you have to be very precise about the colors you use. So this hex code really helps you because they have a sheet in which they tell you that these are the colors, a standard color for illustration. After that, this tool is also very helpful for the people who are drawing in their phone. Let me check if the tutorial is still going on, because I recorded this tutorial previously also, but I realized that I spoke up everything and the tutorial was not recording. So it's very frustrating. So you can click on this tool to and all the tools, all the options will kind of disappear on the screen, which will allow you more canvas area to just draw and enjoy. which is very, very helpful if you're drawing on a small screen. Another tools here are very simple: undo and redo. Also, Ibis Paint has a very interesting shortcut. If you tap two times on the screen, it will do a undo, and clicking on like three times, it will do a redo. It didn't happen now, but it really happens. Also, if you're using it on your Windows and you have a stylus something, it might have features of its own. Like in Apple Pencil, there's a double tap feature of switching seamlessly between pen and eraser. And in my stylus of HP, I could just click on this button and avail eraser. So these are some shortcuts, but in phone, this double tap and triple tap really helps you. Now here is one of the most, elaborative, in which I have to elaborate a lot, the feature which is layers feature. So what is a layer? If I have to simply explain you in words, is that in an artwork, in a complex artwork, we draw things separately on each layer and stack them over each other to get the final result. I hope you can understand with this analogy which is appearing on the screen. So this is what the layer is. So basically this default layer is already present here, in which I was basically telling you how to draw. By clicking on this plus icon, you can add a new layer. And also there are many features that you can adjust about a layer. For example, in this eye button, if you click and hide, this whole artwork will disappear or hide. After that, let me tell you this another feature which is here is add a special layer. So what you can do is from this you can add a folder. See, when you are drawing very, very complex artworks, these things like having a folder, or it's very means helpful. Like you can group certain layers, like in one layer you draw an eye, on another art, another layer you draw a nose, so you can add all them into one folder named face. So this is how it is used. Then again, you can duplicate the layer if you want to by using this duplicate layer tool. And add layer for canvas is that, see, for example, I have this another in which I have drawn like this. And what I want is, see, if I would duplicate a single layer, it will just duplicate what is present in this layer. But if I have to duplicate the entire canvas, it means, all the details which I have added on the canvas will come here. I hope that is clear. Another very important tool present here over is very underrated tool which can be used for, like, not underrated, everybody knows it basically, is that this import picture tool. For example, you can import any picture from your phone or computer and here, and it will just, appear. I have drawn a lot of, notanki, a lot of, rubbish. So it's not visible. Otherwise, as you can see, I have imported this image. Also, it asks you, background remover also. See, this is a new feature which has come. I have noticed it today only, because there was a extract line drawing feature which would draw which will all, extract all the black lines of it and present it in the gray form. In background removal, I feel if there is a background, it will remove it. And it's also giving you, certain that instructions also, but I don't want anything. I want to be the picture which I really imported, so I will click on cancel. Also, now here you think, here you also see you can also, rearrange layers. The layer which are on top appear, above above the layers which are below them. So as you can see, I shifted this up, so here you can see the details also changed. For example, this behind layer come in front and this layer came in front. This is also a very wonderful tool. Okay, so after that, you can here basically flip the canvas completely. Now, here is also people really confuse a lot, in these two tools, because they are also flipping tools, and here also you get a flipping tool option. So what happens is this, let me close this layer and tell you. In this layer, if you see that if you would just flip the layer, it would flip the layer itself. And if you flip it from here, it will flip the canvas. This is the difference between these two tools. And also you can, flip it vertically and from here horizontally. So here is where you will flip the canvas, and from here you can flip the layers of it. I hope that is clear. Let me open this tool. After that, here is basically clear layer option, means whatever you have drawn on the layer, if you want, you can simply click on clear option and you could do it. Also, this is a invert option which will basically invert all the colors. I feel it is very, very interesting and fun to watch. I do not know its use. There must be a use to it. That is why this tool is I don't know. Let me keep it normal. Also, there is then this transform tool in which you can transform the elements present over the screen. And there are many ways to do the same thing. I said now, in any tool, there are, n number of ways to coming to the same situation and doing the similar task. The more time you spend with the tool, more familiar you get to the shortcuts, and watching a tutorial basically helps you get an idea of what the tool is beforehand only. I also like watching tutorials here and there. Initially, I don't used to do that, but it is really very, very helpful and saves a lot of time, in my opinion. So I already told you about these canvas flipping tools. Now here comes another very important tool, which is merging layers. For example, you drew eyes on one canvas, nose on another canvas. Now you want these two layers to be in one. This tool I use personally because I draw things separately, but once I think all things are fine, I like to merge it into one so that I can reduce the number of layers used, because although you can like use infinite layers, there is no restriction of premium something in this Ibis paint, but I still feel merging layers help keep your artwork clean. So for example, if I merge this two layer, and also this is a merge down layer, so you have to click on the layer, upper layer, to merge it down to the lower layer like this. So I hope this is clear. Another tool which is there is delete option. For example, now I want to delete this layer. I could simply click on this delete layer option. After that, here you can also select a particular background color if you wish to. You can also, do it in this way, and also use any palette, maybe a palette color which was already there. Let me choose it green only. After that, now here comes very important tool of clipping, alpha lock, and this is basically, blending modes. So blending modes will need another tutorial of its own. What is the use of different blending modes? And I would recommend you one video by Art by Flow, in which, she explained very beautifully. She explained the use of different blending modes. If you ask, I can make also a video on that, but I would highly suggest you to check out her video. I will leave a link of that video in the description below, which will really help you to understand the significance of different blending modes. Anyway, let's understand what is this clipping and alpha lock. Also, before that, let me tell you about this slider, which is to adjust the opacity of your artwork. For explaining you clipping and alpha lock, let me open another canvas. Also, this tool is basically almost completed. Let me also tell you about this tool. So from here, basically, you can open some settings and adjust things, which I don't think so you will ever need. Basically, some people find that two tap touching feature. For example, they are setting to zoom in and then they accidentally touch two times and they get an undo. So some people feel it, very irritating. Also, there is one more shortcut of, if you just click lately on anything, it just auto selects the color. Also, this feature is very, very, irritating for people. Especially for me, it is very, very irritating. I just put my pen on the canvas to think of something and it just automatically selects the color. So what you can do by going on the settings, that you can, disable certain features from here, which is you can do as per your customization. I'll leave it to you. Then you can save it as a transparent PNG. Transparent PNG saving means that it will be saved as a sticker. Save as PNG is basically saving an image as a PNG only. Now we will go back to the gallery and we will select a new artwork to explain you clipping and alpha lock. Okay, so let me draw a circle. Don't take tension, I would be explaining you these tools very, very soon. Fill color with black. I would be explaining you what I just did in a couple of minutes. Okay. So see, this is how beautiful it is looking. Basically, I chose this brush only, and that's why I say, digital tools I feel have lots of to experiment and lots of to have fun. See how pretty it is looking. I thought of changing it, but I just won't change it to a normal. Let me show you how it would happen with a normal pen. Also in brushes, I forgot to tell you one thing, that by clicking on this plus icon, you can add it to your custom brush section, and also you could see a history of brushes you are using so that you do not, miss a brush. For example, this felt tip, soft brush and hard brush is something that I really use. So yeah, see, I have drawn it with a normal brush, so it's appearing a perfect circle. But I really love this. I'm not gonna erase it and explain you clipping and alpha lock in this only. So what is clipping and alpha lock? Both of the works are very very similar, but the difference is that in clipping, for example, if you clip the above layer to the below layer, so what happens is that whatever you will draw on that layer will only, appear on the drawing which is already done in the bottom layer. For example, now if I choose another color, and if I were to color it, let me off the drawing tool. If I was to draw, it will only appear in the area which I have already drawn and not anywhere else. This is the use of this clipping tool. But the difference, and alpha lock also has a similar feature only. Let me off it and show you alpha lock. So alpha lock is basically done on the same layer. In clipping, you make the changes on a separate layer, but in alpha lock you will make the changes on the same layer only. For example, if I did a alpha lock, no matter where I'll draw, only the drawing which I have already made, the color and the changes will appear here only, not somewhere else. So this tool is very very helpful, especially if you are there to, for example, shading. For example, just think this color was, this only, and I want to do a certain shading. So let me take a darker color of this and change my brush to maybe a airbrush, because airbrush is very good for shading. And yeah, so I am here to kind of make you a shading. So see how helpful it is to kind of shade and give that 3D feeling. See, it's looking 3D. Because what is 3D is that it's the difference of light and value, and our mind perceives it as a 3D object. See here. So these are very, very helpful tools, and I use it very, very often also. So if you will see any of my artworks, I am thinking of uploading, full real time tutorials on how to draw Ibris paint in future. Let's see how the flow works. So I have explained you in my understanding all the tools of this basically layers panel. If I have missed anything, you could tell me in the comment section. Well, I have, worked my best to not miss anything. Anyways, now let's look at this top right corner and all the tools present here. So this first, by clicking on the first tool, you can get two tools which are very, very handy. The first is the grid tool. If you open the grid tool, you will find a grid will appear. As you can see, the grid now here, if you see, for example, let me change some grid settings. I want it to, be bigger, because that grid was very, very, small. You can also change the grid color also. For example, I want my grid color to be green. It will grid color one, green. See, it happens to be green. So you can also customize your grid into whatever intervals you want to, which will really be helpful if you want to, read a reference. Also, you can adjust by moving this cursor where you want and how you want your sheet to be. Let me off the grid for now. Another tool is a reference window. This tool is again very very helpful. A reference window will appear, but I feel this reference window kind of annoys me while I'm drawing on the phone, because the screen itself is very very small and I add some reference also. But in bigger screen, for example, I am doing a zoom work here, so you can see also it shows you where are you in your artwork and what are you doing. See this is what is appearing, and this is how the complete artwork is, which is very very great. Because sometimes na, it happens we are doing something here and then we are doing something there, and then we realize our whole artwork is not in place. So reference window really helps. Also, you can import certain pictures. For example, I imported these pictures as my reference for certain artworks. Also, you can delete your reference by clicking on remove reference, and you can also add, as you can see, multiple references also. For example, I want to add this as a reference, these picture, and then I would like to see it and draw it my own. You can also zoom it. Okay. And also, most interesting thing is you can choose the color from your reference photo, and you could just use that color here, which is another very interesting thing. Anyways, after so these are the two most important tools which are present over here. Another this important tool is this selection thing. So just wait a minute for this tool. I will explain you the time when I am explaining you this magic wand and lasso tool. So the while explaining these two tools, I will basically tell you the use of this tool also, because these two tools, basically this is kind of a shortcut which you can use while using those tools. Another tool which is important over here is this panel, which is very very handy. Also, make sure to on the stabilizer. This is something I feel I should have told you in the beginning only. With stabilizer, basically what happens is that your strokes become more stabilized. For example, if I'm let me take a felt tip brush, color to be black. See, if I'm drawing it with a stabilizer, you can see my lines are more stabilized. If I off the stabilizer, lines get a bit wobbly, but you will feel it's same only. But see, difference is there. You can experiment on its own only, because if the thickness is high, or maybe it's not getting, but really if you will on the stabilizer, it makes a difference. Also in force fade, what happens is that when you're drawing something, you will see a certain fading in that. Let me open the length of the start, shape of the fade like this. Hey, it's not happening. So it's a felt tip brush pen. Let me use maybe a dip pen brush. Yeah, just look at this. That is a felt tip brush pen, so all the tips, remain same only in that. But if, for example, I'm drawing is and I have opened the force fade, you can see this force fade happening. See, I'm drawing this and then this thing which happened. So this is the use of this force fade. Let me off it. Another, yeah, let me tell you the use of the stabilizer after that. For example, this is real time stabilizing. If you look at the stabilizing afterwards, for example, I drew the stroke and then it got stabilized. See, do you see the difference? But when your stabilizer in real time, because I feel it is not disturbing, that after is very disturbing, because you draw a certain stroke and then another stroke appears. So which is very, very distracting. So make sure to keep it to real time only. Now, here are some drawing tools which are again heavenly important, and I draw these two circles by this only. So, there are many, many drawing tools like line, which you can draw, and this polygon, and you can also change how many corners are there in your polygon. Also, I have opened this fill here. You can also, if you off this fill, here's this fill option. If you off this fill option, you will see just an outline appearing. I have on this force fade maybe or something. No, I have not on it, but the pen is only felt tip. So different brushes give you different textures, because in dip pen you get this tapering ends. But if you use a felt tip brush pen, which I normally use for my artworks, in this there is always this constant ending. Also, if you on the fill, there are two options which appear, which are very, very important. You can fill it with the current color, whichever color you're using here, selected here, with which that particular shape will be filled. Or you could just change, if you off this fill with current color option, you can change any color in which you want your artworks to be filled. For example, in this, you can see. So now let me off the tool and let's proceed to another tool, which is rulers and symmetric rulers. So in rulers, as the name suggests, you will get a straight line ruler, a circle, a ellipse which you can adjust, ellipse which you can adjust, and you could just simply draw over it. And also you can rotate by clicking on this rotating option to your ellipse. Let me show you by drawing one circle, one ellipse. Also, then there is this radial thing, which will really help you with the perspective. If anybody is familiar with perspective and drawing that thing, this radial ruler also very very helps. Once you establish a vanishing point, you can simply make a grid out of it. There is also perspective options like this some 3D perspective. Let me off this ruler first. So there is this perspective option which will take, I feel, a lot of time. And if you already know, for example, these two are vanishing points, and it kind of shows you that 3D space and really helps you. It will really help you to understand if you know perspective, etc. So it will get very complex here, so I would be skipping that thing for now. But I told you that a feature like this exists. Let me off this, and now there comes the symmetric ruler. I can't tell you how helpful these tools are. Let me give you a demo. With this symmetry ruler, what happens is that when you draw on one side, it just appears on another side. It's very very I think it is very very helpful if you're drawing Indian art forms like Alekhan. And also there are also any artwork in which there is a balance between the two. For example, I also did any one artwork, I guess. I feel I have it here. Yes, yes, just see this artwork. So let me play this, and as you can see, I am drawing it on one side and it is automatically appearing on the another side. Obviously, I didn't draw it two things at one time. I was drawing it on one side and it was appearing on another side. It is very satisfying to watch also, and very very good. So basically, I'm outlining, etc. Let me stop this now. Also, if you look at this, symmetry tool again, let me clear this layer. It has gone so dirty. Let me clear this layer and let me delete this layer. Also, if you go to the symmetry tool, you have this radial symmetry. Just a minute, let me check if the recording is on. I'm very afraid because I lost, complete recording session before also. So this symmetry ruler, you can also control the divisions. I would be, recently I was experimenting with this tool, especially in mandala. And let me show you that experimentation also. I feel it could be a very, very functional tool for that mandala making. For example, I also used it in this cute elephant illustration also, which is basically in progress only. And let me show you where is that mandala. Oh, yeah, yeah, it is here. I thought I deleted it. Basically, I was experimenting it. No, no, I don't want to edit it. So as you can see, I have used this symmetry tool only with a particular number of divisions. The number of divisions I used it 28. And what was happening now, if I was drawing like something over here, let me use a felt tip brush, hard brush I'll use. For example, if there was something, I was drawing here. Just a minute. It was happening to the complete artwork, and it is so satisfying to watch. Let me show you the process video. You will get a much better idea. See. So first I made a grid by using that, circle ruler only, and then I was experimenting with this, Obviously, I'm not drawing in 10 places, but I'm drawing in just one and it is appearing. So it was very very satisfying. I think it's very satisfying, if for people who are very impatient with mandalas. Well, that is not the quality you should have with mandalas. With mandalas, you need to be absolutely patient, drawing the same pattern again and again in a circle, which is really really beautiful and insightful process of its own. I am a huge mandala lover. But this tool was also very very interesting. You can make various mandalas in just a couple of minutes. So I was just experimenting around here. I had drew basically one mandala in my phone. It is very very satisfying. So there is a lot I was trying to say that you can do with this symmetry tool. It has so many possibilities, and I will make a video, separately experimenting specifically mandalas only with this tool. So then there is this, this is also similar only that to that, but I feel you have some more divisions. I didn't found any difference in that. I feel I must have educated myself. Anyways, then this here you have this perspective tool, and in this also I feel you can just adjust it to various perspective and planes, and you can use it. But I haven't used it, so I won't be talking much about them. Because as I said now, you cannot do it all with any tool. It's all about experimentation. There's still a lot of things I'm learning about this tool. Also, as I'm growing my knowledge about various artworks and learning perspective, etc. Well, I'm an artist like you only, just learning from internet. But I feel this tutorial might really help you, so I'm making it on. Another, there is a library, a material library, which is given by, you know, Ibris Paint only, but it works online. I have my internet connected. I'm not knowing why it's not showing. Maybe the connection is very poor and maybe anything. Otherwise, yes. See, it came. So here you will find a lot of, patterns and, sketches which you can just import. For example, these are tracing sketches of buildings, etc. There are 28 of them, and you can just import them free onto your canvas and you can trace in a new layer. For example, let me show you only. Also, by clicking on the star button, you can save things and it will appear on your favorites, and whichever item you use will appear in the history panel. Also, you can search to certain names, like, see, the naming is also given. For example, by clicking on the star button, it will add it to your favorites. And also you can search them by clicking on the search bar and kind of putting the name. For example, 6 head tall female 01 post 2. Okay, let me import this thing here, and you can also make sure to resize it in whichever way you want to resize it. This is very helpful if you are planning to begin any artwork. You do not need to, this is something you can experiment on your own. And I say a pattern, there are also a lot of patterns also. Let me show you patterns also. Japanese texture patterns, or you can experiment it on your own, or I'll make a separate video on material library and Ibris Paint, fun experiments, something like that. Let's see how the flow goes. Also, what you can do is you can add a new layer above it and you can start tracing over it. Also, make sure to lower the opacity of it, and you can make sure to, maybe add certain hairs or something like that. You can just go on and do this thing. So I hope I have explained this top right corner also. Now comes this main toolbar. And as I said now, there are hundreds of ways of doing things, doing the same things in any tool. So you will realize many of the things which you did here with another tools, you can do it from here also. And when you actually draw, you will get to know which is the best way for you, because there is no best way or wrong way. I have my own way with the Ibris Paint, and you will find your own way while practicing and investing time into it. Anyways, without any further talk, let's see this. The first tool which was transform is that you can transform your artwork at any given instant, which I also told you to, you can do with another feature also. So you can transform it, you can resize it, you can rotate it, anything you can do with the transform tool. Another tool which come here very functional and important is magic wand and lasso tool. So let me tell you first of all about lasso tool. Lasso tool is basically you can select a certain portion by drawing over, and that particular area will be selected. Now you can transform that particular area only from here and there. You can also alter many form. It's not just you can transform, you can also alter maybe the perspective form of it, like this, and lot of thing you can do. You can also change it in the mesh form. Maybe you want to transform the line, although it looks very ugly. Maybe I do not know how to use it. I won't say it looks ugly. It's not, it's basically I do not know it, and maybe I don't want any change here. Also, here are many options. For example, you can, what you can do is you can add a layer. For example, this is the setting I'm telling you. It is also very important. For example, I selected this layer, but I want more of this portion to also get selected. So I have selected here add button, add button, which is also automatically selected, and I can add more of the layer which I'll select. If you, for example, I selected, for example, this portion by mistake, so I can just go over and subtract this area, you know whichever area you will cover will be subtracted, which is also very, very important. Also, you can invert the selection layer. For example, this tool is also very, very helpful. And to be very, very honest, in this artwork which I did, this selection tool are very, very used. For example, this artwork which I did, in which I use this inverted selection tool a lot. You can see, let me, can I stop it? No, no, I cannot stop it. Basically, I was drawing it inverted in inverted canvas, maybe. So I used a lot that inverted tool. For example, I wanted to paint the outside version, so I select. Let me show you why I'm talking. I'll Let me show you visually what I'm talking. Let me take a new canvas. Come on, work, don't hang. Okay, let me draw a circle and show you that inverted option. For example, I drew this circle. Now what I want is, I drew many, many circles. Now, what I want is that I want to draw maybe on the outer region. No, one more thing. Let me tell you the situation and also which you will use this. Just a minute. I'm creating a situation in which you will need to use it. I don't know why I'm so tempted by explaining you that. Anyways, for example, now I have done this thing. Now I want to select a particular, yes, magic wand. Let me explain you magic wand first and then about that inverted tool. See, what happens with magic band is that if you select on magic wand, it chooses a area with a similar color, with a defined boundary, with similarity of the color. It selects a particular area, and after the area is selected, if you click on brush, you could only draw on that particular area. Something like alpha lock only, it just works. But more than that, like if you select a particular area, you can shade on this. If I go about doing it anywhere else, it just won't happen. It will only work in the selected area only. That is the significance of magic wand. Now I selected this area, but now what I want is that I could edit in all the area but except this particular circle. So if I was to basically select this all area except this circle, it would be a very daunting task. No way I could select everything. See, it's all getting scattered. So what I will do is, instead I will select this particular shape. Oh god, now this is also not selecting because of this color dissimilarity. Because of this color dissimilarity, it is also now not selecting. So let me make another shape to show you why it is getting so messy, but I hope you are understanding the point. Let me go to the brush. Let me go to the drawing and circle, fill on, and just a bit. Okay, now this is perfect. Now, what I want is basically at this point, I want to do something everywhere but except this one middle circle. So, what I'll do is I'll select this circle and then click on this invert layer option. And what will happen is that now I can draw everywhere except this own circle. Let me off this and show you. Now, basically, I can draw everywhere except that circle only. See, I'm drawing on this circle, it is not happening, and it is happening everywhere else. This is the use of invert layer option. Now, as I said, so basically, I also explained you meanwhile the magic wand and the lasso tool, but a kind of a summary that I would like to give you. With lasso tool, you can just simply select onto any area. You can select with magic wand and also these tools of add and subtract that selection area. In magic band basically selects a particular area automatically depending on the color similarity. In that defined boundary, if the color is same, magic wand would simply select it, which is a very, very helpful tool when you are coloring. For example, let me show you one artwork. In basically in every artwork where you have to lay the flat colors or anything, this tool is used. For example, in this tool itself, I used magic wand a lot. Oh God, it will show you all how I imported references and sketched over it. Let me show you if I could just make it forward. No, I cannot. Okay, it's not, it will show you the whole process. Basically, I filled these colors by using magic wand only. For example, I selected this map. For example, I want to just change this color. So I selected, see this layer, this part is selected with the color similarity. And now if I want to, just a minute. Now if I want to add a, shade of a darker color, it will just only appear in this part and not in any other outside. So it really will help you give, shadows to your drawing and things like that. Now let me also talk about this tool which is present at this side, which I was talking that I will tell you once I tell you that this toolbar. So from this remove selection area, you could just simply by default remove all the selection which is there on the screen, which I also did, when in a mess and you want to remove all the selection area, this is a very handful tool. Also for that invert selection, you can also do it from, that lasso and magic band tool. There was a tool here, but you can also do it directly by invert selection area. Also that clear layer area which we saw in this layer panel is also present as a shortcut. You can also select the opacity of the selected area. The color range is also something similar to Magic Wand. Expand and contract is basically to zoom and transform the things only. And cut copy paste is something similar to that cut copy paste only. For example, if I select a particular area with a lasso, now what I can do is I can this cut and copy thing is basically activated. I could simply cut this part from here and it is saved in the clipboard. Now I can just simply paste it and move it around and paste it wherever I want. Well, I don't want this thing, it's just ruining my artwork. And let me don't. Also, same thing you can do is with copy. Instead of cutting it from there, you can copy and paste it somewhere else. It is also very, very helpful tool. After that, you have this, filter and effects tool. You can do a color balance thing by here, and there's a lot. Hey, they're looking like monsters. No, no, no. You can also posterize the complete thing. You can change the brightness or, contrast of things. Oh, it's looking like devil. I don't want it anyway. Let's keep it original. A lot of things you can experiment, a lot of filters you can choose, and people use it in very, very creative ways. I have also used it basically, but not getting that creativity right now to show you how beautiful these tools can get. Also, by clicking on the blush tool here, also you can activate this, you can select brush from here. Eraser also, there's a lot of, type of brushes you can use for eraser also. For example, if you want this coarse pencil to be your eraser and you want to erase in that style, see, it's erasing in that style. It's also looking stylish. This smudge tool is basically to mix the colors. For example, if I have to, smudge this color, and also you can see I am drawing on this color layer right now. So that line art is the, this is the significance of layers also, you can understand. You know, I have drew a line art on the separate layer and I'm coloring on the separate layer of base color before it. So it's very, very helpful, Smudging tool basically means, mixing the colors. I ruined this girl's face. Anyway, the blur smudge is basically mixing the two colors and blur is basically blurring the effect of the thing. So blur tool is also very, very helpful to create certain effects. Special brushes are, as you can say, special. The first is liquify. So you can liquify the things like this. I don't want to do it. You can also shrink certain areas. For example, if I want to shrink this thing, I could just shrink it. As you can see, it's shrinking, but I don't want to do it. There is also this expand thing. If you want to expand certain thing, it will lead to their expansion. If you just click on here, you can see it's expanding. Okay, you can see that expansion, but I don't want to do this expand. And then here is another option, which is to smoothen the thing. If there is something which is not smoothen, you could just simply smoothen by clicking on it. And then there is a revert. For example, you did this shit here, so you can just revert all that thing which you have done by clicking on this special eraser. You can also adjust the thickness of it and all that, but I don't want to use it. Bucket tool is very, very simple. And if you have used any of the paint thing, you know what the significance of bucket is. You can just click on a bucket, and in a defined boundary, it will introduce you to that color. Let me, if I have to choose this color as background, it's not looking good. Anyway. Also, you can add a text, and whichever text you will add will appear on another layer for. So now for adding the text, you could simply go and write the text here, which is there on the screen. And once you write something, let me write y. And you can adjust the font by clicking on the font. There are 488 fonts available, and I hope you will find your font. For example, I'm taking this Curl ZY font. You can adjust it to left, right, center, wherever you want here on the screen to appear. Also, you can do this horizontal and vertical also. For size, you could increase the size as per your requirement. You can change the style, you can add a stroke to it, you can change the background. You can also remove the background by selecting the opacity to 0. You can also adjust the spacing of the lines and the character spacing also. These tools become really handy if you're by chance illustrating a poster or maybe adding some text to your artwork. So this tool is very, very helpful also. After that, and also this text layer appears on a separate layer, so you could also delete it. Also, frame also appears on the separate layer, so you could delete it. So this is the significance, this is the use of this text only. Also, I didn't explain this frame right now also. See what happened now. When I was explaining that text again, that something happened and that recording just stopped. So I'm explaining it again. So this frame divider, what happens is that if you add a frame, this frame adding could really help you when you are drawing manga or things like that. So this is how simply you means add the frame. You can add more and more frames above that. Another tool which is important is eyedropper tool. For that, I'll have to open a artwork to show you. For example, when I do this artwork, I used a lot of time I used a eyedropper. You can simply click on eyedropper and click on the color, or you could just press it for a long duration. And also, I told you, even in the reference window, even in the reference window, if I'll just switch it to the import pictures part, if you click for a long duration, it will select the colors which are appearing on that reference picture also, which is very, very helpful. Now this is the last tool of our tutorial, and after that we will be finished. Not finished, because I will also be explaining you the saving options, but let's understand this canvas option also, which is the last in the toolbar. First of all, you can change the canvas size while in being here only. For example, you can keep the aspect ratio and change some size in pixels, whatever you want. And even if you kind of don't want to keep the aspect ratio and make your own size, you can also do that by changing the canvas size. Then you can also trim the artwork if you want. I really use it sometimes. Now what happens is that canvas which I select appears to be bigger than what I really wanted. So I use this trim tool. DPI is basically 300 standard and 350 is auto selected here only. In print also you could see. So you can change these settings if you really need it for, some specific purpose. Then you have this color mode. In color mode, what can happen is that you can change the complete artwork into a grayscale mode or in a black and white form. So in grayscale form, you could actually see, the values of different colors, so you can use it as per your wish. See, tool is a tool, and there's a lot of ways you can use a similar tool in your own creative ways, and the purpose of this video was to introduce you to each and every tool which is there present in Ibis Paint, so that you know that that tool exists and you can use it as per your own wish. Then the rest of the tools are very simple. You can rotate the canvas 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right. You can flip the canvas, which you could anyways also do it from here, these flipping options which I told you previously. Anyways, now let's look at the saving options and wrap up the complete video. So in saving options, you can just, as I told you in the video only, you can save it as a transparent PNG, save as PNG. But I have already told you, so I will go to the back to gallery and tell you another saving options which I feel are more important. Also here, if you see in the bottom, there is time option. Here you can see whatever time is being given to this artwork. For example, it took me 1 hour and 9 minutes. I spent it this much amount of time. Anyways, if you click on three dots here, you can delete the artwork. You can also duplicate this artwork into the same gallery. You can save it as in a PNG form, a JPEG form, AI super resolution into 2 PNG form, and you can also save a time lapse video, which I was showing you in between of various. You can save it in of 6 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whichever time you wish and you want to share to people. It is also very attractive form, to share your content with your audience if you're on Instagram or maybe on YouTube or anywhere else. Well, if you share and let me also tag, I also love watching, people share something. Anyways, you can also save as a PSD preserve. So if you're working in Adobe Photoshop and something there, you can save it as a PSD preserve layer. So what will happen na, in whichever layer you have drawn here on the Ibis paint, the same layers will appear on your PSD Adobe. Matlab, in PSD form, they will appear in your Adobe Photoshop. You can also save as a PSD as a flattened layer, means all the layers will be converted into one layer, something like that. So this is what all the saving options which are available, and I hope I told you everything. Like you can, by clicking on edit, you can go to the artwork again and things like that, and this is how you go back to the gallery, back to everything. So yeah, I hope you found it helpful. So I hope you must have enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. If you have any queries as such, you can comment down below in the comment section. I'll try to answer it. And make sure to also give feedback, as this was the first time I have recorded any such tutorial as such, and it has also gotten 1 hour long. And really appreciate it, like those who have watched that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.